It's Wednesday night, and you know what that means. Another episode of the whole damn enchilada wrestling edition. It's me, your host, the Don, and as you can tell, I'm all alone tonight. Last week we couldn't get a show out because we had busy lives, busy days. Then this week we went to do this episode, and somebody can't use his voice. So here we are, just me, seeing how bad I bombed this by myself, but we'll see how this goes. Usually, this is the part where I ask my co-host how he's doing, but I know how he's doing. He can't talk. I'm doing good though. Start a new job in a couple days. Schedule's gonna get all worked around, so this schedule might get a little changed up, but we'll see how that goes. Um, yeah, no, things are pretty good. This is usually again where I would ask my co-host, "What does he want to talk about?" Um, can't do that. It's all right. But I'll talk about some things. Firstly, if you're in the Cleveland area or anywhere in Ohio, this Friday at the Temple in Euclid or on Euclid, downtown somewhere, like 30-minute walk from Tower City or so, is AIW's Gauntlet for the Gold, featuring Kurt Angle and a couple other local talent that are sure to show you a good time. Jess and I might be down there. Maybe you could see us if we're there. Who knows? We'll see how work goes. Besides that, other Cleveland events going on. SummerSlam. Got my ticket to that. We'll probably be downtown doing something for that. When we get closer to that, we'll announce some things. Thinking about trying to do a live show. We'll see how that goes. Maybe we can get a connection somewhere and do a live show to our 0 fans that we have. But we'll get there. You guys will come. Or you won't. It's all right. We're having fun. But yeah, on to wrestling. This might be a quick show this week because, again, all by myself. So don't have really anybody to go off of, and I have nobody to keep me on track either. So either it's going to be a quick show or I'm just going to ramble. So I feel like I've rambled a lot already, but we'll see. We start with SmackDown though. Cody Rhodes' new challenger got announced is none other than Logan Paul. Him and Cody will be main eventing the Saudi show, King and Queen of the Ring, title for title. It seems like it's going to be for both titles. Personally, not a fan of that. I think we're going to throw way too much onto Cody, and people aren't going to like that soon. You're going to be shoving him down his throat, and people are going to turn their backs on that. I won't, because I'm a big Cody guy, but a lot of people will, I think. And maybe that's when we turn Cody heel, or who knows? Who knows what's in store for the summer? We should have a very, I don't want to say intense summer, but we should have a very quick moving summer with wrestling. A lot of different things going on, a lot of different pieces and stories that we got to finish. So we'll see where everything goes. Got my water ready because I'm gonna be doing all the talking tonight, so don't get a break. Anyways, should be a pretty interesting summer. We have at least I have no idea where it's going. I don't know. I can't even give a expected card for SummerSlam at this point. It's so crazy. But that's a good thing. Unpredictability in wrestling is what we've been looking for. On top of the unpredictability, though, we kind of got things that draw out way too long. Kind of like that Uncle Howdy thing. And I think we'll get it more into Uncle Howdy next week when my co-host is back, because that's his favorite thing to talk about. But these QR codes are getting pretty intense. The last one seemed to be pictures of a murder scene of a psychiatrist or therapist, some doctor that they were all seeing. Had a QR code with article of a missing person, and then a lot of pictures of notes, like crime scene notes. So we'll see where that goes. That's going to be pretty interesting. I hope it translates well to the ring, because when you have a character like that, it's very hard to get a murderer. Like, this is supposed to be real. So it's very hard to convince us that a murderer is fighting over world champions and things like that. But I don't know. It's going to be hard. And I think I'm both interested and over it at the same time. So we'll see. I think we got like one more week of this. Supposedly, King and Queen of the Ring is when he's going to show up. him and his ragtag group of people, but who knows? They like to draw this thing out so long. So maybe we'll see it at SummerSlam. Hopefully not. That's a long time. Uh Moving on though, we did have the King and Queen of the Ring kick off last week, but we didn't have a chance to talk about it at all because our show got canceled due to our personal lives, but that's okay. We did have starting on SmackDown, Nia Jackson, Naomi. Nia ended up winning that. Moving on to the quarterfinals, we had Baron Corbin and Carmelo Hayes, which thank God Baron Corbin went back down to NXT because now a lot of people could see that he can work pretty well. When he was in NXT, he was having banger after banger with Rhino. I guess it's the only one I could think of right now, but there was a couple other guys that he had really good matches with. So I'm glad he's getting another shot to show people how good he is. Um, but Carmelo Hayes also really good, and Carmelo Hayes ended up picking up the victory in that, moving himself on. We had Jade Cargill and Piper Niven. That was a oh yeah. Here we got a comment here. Somebody's watching. Samoa Joe was the guy that Baron Corbin had another banger with, which is true. He did. It was really good. Really good stuff from Baron Corbin. I know he's old, but I think he still has a pretty bright future. I don't think he's won a mid-card title yet. That's probably where we cap off at, but who knows? He might just be a guy that's forever there to put people over, and that's okay too. We need people like that too. But back to what I was saying, Jade Cargill and Piper Niven, which a lot of people beforehand thought this wasn't a good idea. I thought it was a pretty good match. They had big person moves, big girl moves, I guess you'd say. Just going hand to hand, and Nia ended up picking up. Oh, sorry, not Nia. Jade Cargill ended up picking up Piper Niven for her finish, and that was pretty cool. Forget what she calls that move she does, but it's cool. It seems like it takes a lot of strength to get somebody up there like that and drop them on their freaking face. So she moved on. Next week, we're going to get Jade Cargill and Nia Jax in another big woman match, and we'll see how that goes. Nia's been a lot better than her first run, so I'm not expecting anything less than that. I think Nia is going to show off again, as usual, from this latest run. I mean, the first run was good, but she was hurting a lot of people. She wasn't having quality matches from besides Bailey and Asuka, but besides that, she wasn't having quality matches, and now she seems to always deliver. So we'll see how that goes with Jade next week. Well, actually, I think that's this Friday, but you know, next week. Moving on, we had Bianca and Candice in their Queen of the Ring match. Bianca ended up winning. Obviously, there's no shot for Candice. And we had Tiffany Stratton and Maya Yim. Tiffany ended up winning too. I mean, both obvious conclusions, but next week is where we get interesting because we could have Jade and we could have Jade and Bianca in the finals of this in Saudi, but I don't see that personally happening this quick. So I do think Tiffany's going to find a way to beat Bianca. Yeah, my mouth's getting dry already. I do think Bianca or Tiffany's going to find a way to beat Bianca, and we'll be getting Tiffany and Jade in the finals. And there's only one way where Tiffy can beat Jade, and that's with Bianca turning heel. And I think that's where we're going to go. Bianca's going to turn heel on Jade already. Kind of don't want to see that happen already. I think we should draw that out till SummerSlam, but I think this is where we see the turn happen just so we have a way where Tiffany Stratton could beat Jade because she can't beat Jade clean. There's no way. It's too soon. But moving on that to more of the men's matches on SmackDown, we had Angelo Dawkins and Tama Tonga. Tama Tonga obviously won. I feel like that's, again, no surprise. He is going to be moving on to face LA Knight next Friday, I believe. Tama Tonga and LA Knight. I think LA Knights should win. I don't see how you do that though when you're trying to put over these guys as these big monsters. So I don't know. I have no idea. I can't call that one at all. But we did have Randy Orton and AJ Styles, with Randy Orton coming away with the win on that one. He will be facing Carmelo Hayes, and that should be quality wrestling. Um, that's probably what I'm looking forward to the most this coming week. Randy and Carmelo Hayes. I think that's gonna be a really good match. Probably Randy Orton winning and facing Tama in the semifinals, but that means LA Knight has to lose, and then if LA Knight loses, and we got a comment here. Long time listener, first time caller from our co-host. He can't call because his voice doesn't work, so I don't know how he's gonna do that. But anyways, um, welcome to the show. If you're a first time listener, Jay, or sorry, long time listener. Uh, anyways, moving on. Not moving on. Got all sidetracked now. Throwing me off my game, man. You're not even here, and you're throwing me all off. But that's okay. Gives me Let me get back to my point here. Oh yeah, LA Knight losing. You have there's no good way to do this. Like you can't have LA Knight beat Tama Tonga because Tama Tonga is supposed to be your monster now. And you can't have LA Knight really lose because the crowd is so behind him every time. When if he never wins, they're not gonna keep being behind this guy. Eventually, the LA Knight effect's gonna wear off. I don't see when that's gonna happen, but you keep having this guy lose important matches, and I just don't see the crowd still staying behind this guy. But we'll see. See how that all plays out. I'd hope they have a good plan for that. But who knows with these guys? Elsewhere in wrestling, though, we did have Monday Night Raw. Drew and Damian opened the show with decent. Drew has been incredible in this latest run with CM Punk. This feud, they haven't even touched each other once. I mean, they have like little brawl here and there, but they've been really avoiding each other on TV, and I think that's cool that they're able to keep this hype up throughout all of that. They both seem to be cleared, so I don't see what we're waiting for. I mean, I feel like CM Punk didn't want to work Saudi from his comments before, so maybe that's why we're drawing it out. And I would hope he would stick to those comments. Those are pretty affirmative comments he was making about how much he disliked the WWE working with Saudi. So I would hope he would stick to those. But money talks for all of us. So who knows? Maybe he'll show up in Saudi and he will continue to lose his voice to the voiceless that he supposedly had. But back to Drew and Damian. Damian cut a promo about how he's not a paper champion. Drew thinks he shouldn't be a champion because he kind of stole it from him. Should be a good match between those two. I'm actually pretty excited for it. If you'd asked me a year ago, I'd say I'd have zero interest in this at all. In fact, when Damian Priest won the briefcase, I had pretty much next to zero interest in him as a world champion. But they did a good job of turning that around with the Judgment Day, with everything that's been going on the last year. Really trying to put over Damian Priest again back to, I don't know, say back to what he was, because he never really lost anything, but he was never there for me. And same thing with Drew McIntyre. But now it looks like they're really at least entertaining. So we have that, but it looks like it should be a really good match between the two big guys just going at it with each other. And that's what we like here. We like big men slapping meat. That's what everybody seems to like in wrestling now, right? But yeah, no, I think that's going to be a pretty good match. The next Saturday for the world champion. I only see one way it goes. I only see Damian winning. I don't see how he loses the world title to Drew 3 weeks into his title reign. That would be a little crazy. But in order for that to happen, you kind of have to have CM Punk cost Drew. So yeah, we'll see. That's the good thing about wrestling, and the bad thing right now is it's kind of really unpredictable. We don't know what's going on anywhere. It's like a lot of stories seem to have seeds planted, but there doesn't seem to be anything growing from those seeds in a lot of instances. But that's Triple H's thing. He loves his long-term storytelling. We'll see how long-term that is, because some of these things are taking a while. Elsewhere on the show, though, we had some more King and Queen of the Ring matches. Io Sky and Shayna Baszler. Io won, and that was like a really good freaking match. I mean, this whole show, the last like 2 or 3, maybe even 4 weeks of Raw have been quality wrestling mixed in with some really good storytelling, and 3 hours is still a little too long for me, but they're really putting on a good show over there on Mondays. Um, we had I keep saying a lot because I have like no one to go off of. But we also had Lyra Valkyria versus Zoe Stark in forgettable match of the night. Who really cares about these two? Uh, I'm sure they're quality workers, but they haven't given me a single reason to care. Besides, I mean, Lyra a little bit. They had her in that feud with Becky in NXT for a minute, and those are some decent matches, but she's nothing for me right now. We'll see where that goes, but she has done nothing for me so far. But next week we'll be getting Lyra Valkyria and Io Sky in a quarterfinal match, or would that be their semi? I don't know. It's all a little all over the place because Raw's semifinal match is next week too with Gunther and Jey Uso. But SmackDown's has like 4 people still left in the tournament, as far as I know. It's a little unbalanced on where we're at, but that's okay. It makes sense once you see a bracket. If I should have put a bracket up on the screen here, but I didn't get around to it. Next week I'll probably have a bracket. We'll see where everything went. But speaking of Gunther, we had Gunther and Kofi Kingston to get to the semifinals for Raw. Gunther ended up winning that in a decent match. I'd say about a 3 out of 5 stars for that one. You knew who was gonna win, so to me that always takes it away from what I'm watching because I know who's gonna win. I can't get really invested in it. The finish was really good. Gunther power bombs him. Kofi uses his legs to kick out, but Gunther walks over him pretty much and turns it into a Boston Crab to make Kofi tap out. That was really good. But yeah, it was mediocre, I think. Definitely not on Gunther's great match list, but the crowd loved it. Crowd thought it was awesome. Maybe I just didn't pay enough attention to it. But moving on to matches I wish I didn't pay enough attention to. Jey Uso and Ilya Dragunov. Uh Great match. The crowd was invested the whole time. Ilya is really good. I have yet to see this guy have a bad match. They teased earlier in the show that we were going to get Gunther and Ilya, so I'm kind of like, maybe Jey Uso isn't going to win. But no, Jey Uso ends up winning. Ruins my whole night because Ilya and Gunther have 2 of my favorite matches of all time. I really thought I was going to get a third one of those, and I was pretty excited for that. But alas, I'm getting Jey Uso and Gunther, and I could care less about Jey Uso. If you watch the match, though, the crowd was super behind Jey Uso winning. They really wanted you couldn't go the other way. Am I upset that they didn't go with Ilya? Yes, but it doesn't make sense to go with Ilya right now, and I understand that. Could you have made a big star by doing that? Probably, but is Jey Uso really at the point of putting people over right now? Like, sure, he is over with the crowd, but does beating him mean anything? He hasn't won an important match. Beating him really doesn't mean anything. So you kind of had to go with Jay, and I understand that. Sorry, another water break, but yeah, totally makes sense to me. Next week we're getting Gunther and Jay, and my hopes are obviously that Gunther wins. I don't see why Jay should win that, but maybe if you want to go with Jay and Tama in the finals for the King of the Ring, you go that way. But I'm so done with that. I don't want to see that. I just want Gunther to be a King of the Ring and then world champion soon. So we'll see how that goes. I'm very interested in how they play that. Because if you go with Gunther, you could do LA Knight and Gunther at Saudi, but then one of those guys has to lose. So do you really want to do that? You go with Randy and Gunther, and that could be a lot of fun, but obviously we'll know who wins at that point. Gunther, there's no way Randy's beating Gunther. So maybe you keep it up in the air and you go with Knight and Gunther. Who knows? Who knows how they go with all of that stuff? Should be a fun week. We should have a lot to talk about next week whenever we get to a show next week. I am going to wrap it up here with my show. I mean, I don't have much else to talk about. Kind of breeze through everything, but I don't have anyone to discuss with, so I guess that makes sense, huh? Usually we'll do like a grind in my gear segment, something that I didn't like this week about wrestling, but I don't have much to really complain about. I mean, I wanted Ilya and Gunther a lot, and I understand not getting it though, so I'm not totally upset about it. I know we're gonna get to that at some point, maybe even at SummerSlam, and that would be awesome. But who knows? Who knows when we get that? I know we'll get it at some point. I'm not too upset about that. Other than that, there really wasn't anything that upset me too much. The the fact that this Uncle Howdy thing is still going is kind of making me not upset per se, but I'm definitely losing interest in that. There's only there's two ways this can go when they debut. Either they're really good and they honor Bray Wyatt and people really think it's the coolest thing ever, or they suck and it is a tarnish on Bray Wyatt's legacy. And I think the second option, even being a question, should make you not want to do this. It could be cool though. So I'm holding my opinion until we see how it plays out, but I'm leaning more towards we probably shouldn't be doing this. Um, but hey, it is what it is. Besides that, though, thanks for the people that joined this week. If I know it's a short show, but I am out of things to talk about, really. Hopefully, next week we get both of us back on here together. Kind of have a lot to talk about. I mean, we never got to Backlash. We never talked about any other things going on in wrestling. We got a whole bunch to talk about still, and kind of want to save that until I get somebody to discuss with, like specifically the Uncle Howdy stuff. I think that's going to be giving us a lot of quality entertainment, but also a lot of emotions and feelings for that. So we'll see how that goes. But besides that, have a great night. Like us, follow us, join us, subscribe, all that fun stuff. We'll have this video up on YouTube and let me know any advice or anything you guys want to say. I know this is a weird thing doing it by myself. I don't know how it really went. I feel like I rambled a lot, but who knows? Just let me know. Let me know what you think. Hopefully, I don't have to do too many of these solo shows, but I really, really wanted to be consistent with getting you guys a show each week and getting something out there. So I was gonna hop on late last week, but I was just so overworked, so I couldn't even fathom turning on my computer. But that's okay because we're back, and hopefully we don't miss another week. Obviously, life happens, so well, you might miss a week here or so, but who knows? Try not to. Besides that, have a good night.